जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री प्रभुपाद की, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की, गौर प्रमानंदे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु भैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। आजानुलंबित भुजौ कनकावदातौ संकीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताख्यौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ जुगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। चिराददतनिजगुप्तवीतं स्वप्रेम नामामृतमत्तुतारम् आपामरजविततारं गौरकृष्णजनभ्यो तमहं प्रपद्ये। आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्य छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेमरसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुकं करोति वाचालं पंगुलं हयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवं श्रीगुरुदिनतरिणं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं नमः। So today is most auspicious appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is very special tithi for whole universe, super special, because this kind of time manifests, the special muhurta manifests once in one day of Brahma, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his most munificent form, he manifests in this earthly planet. Very special. So I have been discussing for last 15-20 years, every year, Gaura Purnima time, the philosophical aspect of appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and why he came. So this year I am meditating on to speak few pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So last few days we are having Bengali class in different places. So here I have discussed about Mahaprabhu's pastime, when he was enjoying Vidya Rasa. One is Bhakti Rasa, another is Vidya Rasa. So up to certain period in his life, Mahaprabhu exhibited the pastimes releasing Vidya Rasa. Then when he went to Gaya and came back, And he offered Pitru Shraddha. He took darshan of Vishnu Pada Padma. Then he took initiation from Ishwara Puripad. So on the way back, he saw Krishna face to face. Shamala Tamal Ek Balaka Sundar, a beautiful boy, Shama, blue color boy, playing on his flute, smiling, approaching him. Then when he went to embrace, then he disappeared. This is the starting point of the purpose that Mahaprabhu came to this earthly planet. Up to now, whatever pastimes he did, those pastimes have different significance. All the way from the time when he took birth, as all of you know, he took birth at the time when everybody chanting. What chanting there? No, not this one. Not necessarily. Because that time this Hare Krishna Mahamudra chanting was not so famous in publicly. Mahaprabhu is the one who introduced the congregational chanting. They were saying Hari Bol, something like that. Chaitanya says Hari Bol. And when everybody is saying Hari, because that time even if Hari Bol was very rare also. Because time was very bad time, Muslims were ruling. So they are very much against. And more than Muslims, Hindus are more against. What Mahaprabhu started, Hindus are more against than Muslims. And among Hindus, Brahmanas are the worst. The moment Mahaprabhu started, they are the most opposition party, Brahmanas. That was the situation. Nobody interested in chanting holy name. They are all busy worshipping demigods, Sitala, this, that. They had so much money that they don't know how to spend. What they used to do, they bring two toys, one boy toy, one girl toy. And they arrange marriage ceremony and spend lot of money for that. So that is what is happening. But because they are Hindu, this is a custom. There is Chandra Grahan. You go take bath in Ganga, Haribol. That's all. Nothing else. But Mahaprabhu took advantage of that. That is the Muhurta, he appeared. Of course, then he took advantage of, as you know, crying. Always crying. Only stops when somebody says, Hari, Hari. Hari, Hari. What happened? So all the, he was not stopping crying. All the neighborhood ladies came. They were watching, they're trying their best, giving some toy, some affection, not stopping crying. So in India, something goes wrong. Wow, Bhagavan, how to stop this boy? They say like this, oh Bhagavan. So one lady was there. Oh Hari, how he'll stop this? He said, oh Hari. The lady said. Then as soon as he said, oh Hari, he stopped crying. Then all the ladies understood, oh, this is the trick, how to make him stop crying. So that is how they always started chanting, crying. But one day, he started crying. But even with the chanting horrible, still he did not stop crying. So what to do? Please tell us what you want. How your crying will stop. Mahaprabhu will never stop crying. Because his purpose is to make people to cry, isn't it? Why he came? Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj used to say, I am going to open a school, crying school. Crying for whom? Crying for Krishna. How many of us we cry for Krishna? We don't cry for Krishna? Many years before, Srila Jayapata Goswami Maharaj was giving a class on this crying. He was telling, if you don't cry for Krishna, then you cry that I cannot cry for Krishna. Then if you don't cry to cry for Krishna, then you should cry. Why I am not crying to cry for Krishna? So he went on long like this. The conclusion is we have to cry. So Mahaprabhu's movement, he came with a purpose to everybody to cry, is not it? He made to make us to cry. Cry in ecstasy. So one day he said, I will stop crying. There is one Hiranya and Jagadish, that is Ekadashi Tithi. They have prepared a lot of preparation to offer to Krishna. That is called Naivedya. Naivedya means before offering. Nima said, I want to eat that one, then I will stop crying. How is it possible? That is for God. If you don't give me, then I will not stop crying. Then they are very reluctant, went and approached Jagadish and Hiranya that Nima is crying. Today, Ekadashi, you have arranged big preparations. He wants that only. She is very surprised. How such a small boy, he knows today is Ekadashi. Even if older people, they don't know Ekadashi. And how did he know? I have arranged so many preparations. Then he thought maybe Gopal must have some adhistan, must have entered into his body. Okay, whatever I could from a Gopal, I will feed everything to Nimai. So like the many sweet pastimes, how from childhood times, along with his childlike behavior, activities, pastimes, he was exhibiting his opulence, Aishwarya. That those are very remarkable. External looks, very simple, ordinary, like ordinary boy. That is what Bhagavan does. Abhajanting mangmudha. Manusim tanumasritam. When I exhibit my human-like pastimes, mudha, they don't understand. They don't understand param bhavam ajanata mahabhuta maheswaram. My superior position, they don't understand. But same time, he exhibits his opulence, Aishwarya also. Anyway, like this, many pastimes happened. Nimai, during that time, he was not exhibiting any Vaishnava behavior. He was very chanchal, very fickle-minded and very naughty and very proud. His behavior is completely different. So much so, the Vaishnavas would not go close to Nimai. He was so dangerous. What to speak of going close to Nimai? If they say Nimai is coming on the road, Nimai is here, okay, they go other route, they take other route. Because honestly, he'll catch hold of them, then they'll ask some arguments, these. The Vaishnavas are not interested. Few Vaishnavas are there, but they are not interested. But when Nimai came back from Gaya, so all Navadvipvasi went to see him, but no Vaishnava went to see him. But one Sriman Pandit went to see him. Then Nimai was explaining. He went for a Tirthayatra. That time Tirthayatra was not so easy. No aeroplane, no train, no car, walking. I have heard during my childhood time, the Hindus, they go for Chardham Jatra. Chardham Jatra is Badrinath, Dwarakanath, Ramnath, then Jagannath. By walking. So if somebody, husband, wife, they dare to go for that, so they are so convinced that they will not come back. On the way they will be finished. So that's before they leave the village, they do Shraddha ceremony, before they die. That was the system. And if somebody has gone and come back, wow, he made it. The whole village come to see it. Listen, the Mahaprabhu explaining the whole story to them. Was how he went, days and days he has to walk. He crossed so many fields, so many villages. At one point I could hear tumultuous sound, conch shell blowing, so much gong blowing, beating, and so much sound is coming. And when I went close to the temple, thousands of Brahmanas chanting Veda mantra. So they all welcomed me. Come, see the Vishnu Pada Padma. And as soon as Mahaprabhu uttered this word Vishnu Pada Padma, then his throat choked. He could not speak anything. He was simply crying. And all of us surprised. What happened to Nimai? Is it not the same Nimai? Nimai, you have never speaking so sober way, so nicely, so soft, so bhadra, gentleman. He was never been so bhadra before. So gently he speaks. So they're all surprised. Then Nimai said, okay, please all of you go to your house. Sriman, you stay behind. All of you go. Then Sriman Pandit stayed behind. Sriman was very surprised also. What happened to Nimai? He's crying, all Ashtasattvic Vikar manifesting. What change happened to him? Then Nimai said, Sriman, my heart is burning. I am going through so much suffering that I am to tell my suffering, tell of my sufferings. But I don't find anybody whom I can explain that what I am going through, what suffering I am going through. Please do me a favor. You tell the Vaishnavas of Navadip, Advaita Acharya, no, not Advaita, Srivas Thakur, everybody, to come tomorrow to the house of Shuklambara Brahmachari. Shuklambara Brahmachari is a beggar. Whole day he will beg rice offered to Krishna and eat that. And he has a small cottage, kutir, in the bank of Ganga. Mahaprabhu is going to reveal very special thing to whole universe. Anarpita charing chira, that was never given before. Chira adadatta nijagupta bitam, he is going to reveal his hidden treasure in some place. He chose a place, specific place. What place? A beggar's house. He could have told, bring everybody to Advaita Acharya's house, Srivastava, big, he is very famous Pandit. But what he did? He did not go to Pandit's house. He did not call everybody to rich people's house, the beggar's house. Call everybody there. I will reveal. He is going to reveal very special things. But he said, I will reveal the sufferings that I am going through in my heart. When Sriman Pandit left, get surprised. What he will reveal? What has happened to Nimai? He doesn't look like same Nimai as he was before. The next day early morning, in Sriva's house, in his courtyard, there is a flower called Kunda flower, very special flower. And all Vaishnavas of Navadip, they come every day to pluck flower, because that is a flower that the more you pluck, more flower would manifest. So they would all come, gather together, then they would talk, have Krishna Katha and collect flowers. So that day, Sriman came little late, very happy, very jubilant, because Nimai has become Vaishnava, it's not ordinary thing. So Srivas Thakur asked, oh Sriman, what happened to you? You look very happy today. Then Sriman said, I am happy, I will tell something, all of you will become happy. Then he said, that Nimai, who was so naughty and was so adamant that we are not daring to go close to him, and he has changed, he has become Vaishnava. Then everybody shouted, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Because that time the Vaishnavas were so much cornered. All Kali worshippers, Sakta, very dominating. They are very much cornered. No. So Nimai Pandit become Vaishnava means that they are thinking, oh, our group will be very powerful now because Nimai become Vaishnavas. So they say, oh, we are very happy now, Nimai become Vaishnavas. We will go chop up the head of all these Kali worshippers. Then Sriman Pandit said, the Nimai came back from Gaya, but he is not the same Nimai. He is different persons, always crying, Ashtasattvic Vikar, symptoms. And he requested everybody that he want to tell you the tale of his sorrow to Vaishnavas. Please come to Shuklambara Brahmachari's house. So that day, everybody gathered in bank of Ganga, Shuklambara Brahmachari's cottage has a courtyard. All Vaishnavas came in advance and waiting that Nimai will come. What he will say today, let us see. And they saw through the door that Nimai is coming. Looks completely in different mood, long hair, nice Brahman thread. He's coming. Nimai entered the house, and when he saw at one place so many Vaishnavas, She got so much moved to see so many Vaishnavas because of the mood he has developed after coming from Gaya. He chanted a verse glorifying Vaishnavas, and he said, Ha Krishna! Ha Krishna! When he said Ha Krishna, then he grabbed on the pillar, must be bamboo pillar, it's not a RCC building, bamboo pillar, something like that. Ha Krishna! The bamboo broke, then he fell on the ground. Completely senseless, fell on the ground. He has not spoken anything, just by saying these things. All the Vaishnavas that are sitting on the courtyard, by seeing this, they all fell one after another. They're falling on, all over the courtyard. They're all falling unconscious. So after a few minutes, then they all came back to consciousness. Then Nimai could hear somebody is crying inside the house. So Nimai asked, who is crying inside the house? They said, that is your friend Godadhar. Godadhar, Nimai, they are very bosom friends from childhood, but both are completely opposite in nature. From birth, Godadhar was very sober, very kind, very simple, very devotional minded. But Nimai was completely opposite to it, but still they are a very good friend also. So then Nimai went inside to see what is happening. Godadhar has come in advance, hiding inside the room. What Nimai will say, let me listen. What is he going to say? The sorrow, the pain of his heart is going to reveal. What is that? What to speak of listening from him? What to speak of seeing? He has not seen him. Nimai is in the courtyard sitting inside the house. That he has started crying. So that is what Nimai's influence is. The Nimai saw Godadhar sitting, putting his head down and crying and crying and crying. Courtyard, everybody senseless, lying in courtyard. Inside the house, is crying. And outside the house, Ganga Devi is so ecstasy. Oh, now Sankirtan movement is going to start, for which I am waiting. And Ganga Devi is big waves coming in Ganga. She is in ecstasy also. Something special is going to manifest. Then Mahaprabhu said, Godadhar, from childhood you are so sober, so nice, you are cultivating Krishna Bhakti, but I am so wretched, so fallen. I never cultivated Krishna Bhakti. Then finally, I saw Krishna, but then he left me. That when Mahaprabhu was coming from Gaya, first he saw Vishnu Pada Padma. That was very special for him. Then he took initiation from Ishwar Paripad. That is another special thing. And when he came back, he saw Krishna. So that is the starting point of Mahaprabhu, for which purpose Krishna came to this earthly planet. He has two starting points in his life. One starting point is for us. That he started when he appeared. Chira adadata nijagupta bitam soprema nama, to give nama by chanting everybody holy name. He started his life. And another starting point is for his own purpose. What is his own purpose? His purpose is to understand Siradhaya pranay mahima kidrishiva naiva swadyajana adbhuta madhurima kidrishiva madhya chaukhang chasya madanubhavata kidrising betilabha. Three unfulfilled wishes he has to fulfill here now. In loving relationship, the two things are there. One is sambhog, union. Another is viraha, vipralamba, separation. In loving relationship, separation is highest than union. With a lovable object, you are united, that is great. But when you are separated, that is greatest. More better in loving affairs. So Krishna wanted to understand that Radharani's mood towards me in separation. So this is the starting point. Krishna appeared. Krishna appeared to whom? Krishna appeared to whom? In Kana and Arsala, Lord Krishna appeared to whom? Huh? Krishna appeared to Krishna. Krishna appeared to, but he is black Krishna, he is white Krishna. Hello Krishna. What is the difference? It is Krishna, that is Krishna with the mood of Radharani. With the mood of Radharani. Then he disappeared. So then Mahaprabhu developed this mood. Kahan jabo, kahan pabo, Murali Badan. So he came back. So Mother Sachi, they're all Vishnu Priya. By that time Lakshmi Priya had left body. When Mahaprabhu went to Bangladesh, he had left body. So he had married Vishnu Priya. After marriage of Vishnu Priya, he met Ishwar Puripad. Then his father died. Then he went to Gaya. And when he came back, the Mother Sachi Vishnu very happy. My son has come back. But they are very unhappy also to see the very strange behavior. He's behaving very strangely, always crying, whole night is not sleeping, sometimes taking his hair and tying his leg with his hairs, all kinds of funny, strange behavior. Sometimes sitting, sometimes running very fast, sometimes he's biting his head like this, Somebody will come in your family, behave like this, how will you feel, So Vishnu Priya would get very scared. They would not go in front of Nimai. What happened to Nimai? So Mother Sachi very worried. His elder brother already took a sannyas. Father is not there, widow, nobody is there in the house. So what to do? What happened to my Nimai? She would go ask everybody, what happened to my Nimai? What happened to Nimai? Because he talks too much, So too much gas on his stomach. So that's why he's behaving like this. No problem. He gives some green coconut water. He'll be okay. Then she's simple lady. She gives her green coconut water. Nothing happens. Then she goes to everybody. Please tell what happened to my Nimai. And no, he has a long-standing disease. It's not today. Since long time he has having this problem. He talks too much, giving big lectures, So this dab narikal means green coconut water will not rectify him. You give him some goat ghee, chaga ghrita, goat ghee, put on his head, so he'll cool down. So Mother Sachi doing everything like this. What happened? My son has become mad or haunted by something. It's like that, One day she invited Srivas Thakur, please come. She went to Srivas Thakur, please. Everybody is saying, my son has become mad. I don't know what to do. He has become mad. Please come and see. Tell me what I should do. Then one day Srivas Thakur came. When Srivas Thakur came, he saw, Srivas Thakur saw that he's crying and all Ashtasattvic 8 symptoms of prema has manifested. He recognized what kind of madness he has, what kind of ghost has haunted him. He recognized. Then Srivas Thakur said, oh, Mother Sachi. Mother Sachi was worried because everybody is saying Nimai is haunted by ghosts. He has become pagal, mad. Then Srivas Thakur said, Mother Sachi, I can see your son really has become mad. He has become crazy, mad. But one thing, I also wish in my life I can become crazy like him. It will be like nice for me. He realized what kind of mad he is. Then he explained to Mother Sachi that what is, how love of Krishna has manifested this. He explained. Nimai hearing all these things. Nimai said, Srivas Thakur, today was the day I was going to commit suicide jumping into Ganga. Because what I am going through, what is my feeling, what is my situation, nobody understands. Everybody saying I have become crazy, I have become mad, pagal. I was just waiting for you. If you would not understand me and comment about me, about others, like I have become pagal, then I would straight go to Ganga and jump into Ganga. That would be my end. Mahaprabhu said like this. Srivas Thakur could recognize fast. This first person recognized. Then of course, since then, Srivas Thakur house was the like second home to Nimai Pandit, pending with all the Vaishnavas. One day, the Nimai is behaving very strange like this. No, Srivas, okay, he recognized. It is good. His behavior is very strange. Always crying, kahan jabo, kahan pabo, Murali Badan, where shall I go? When can I get that Syama Sundar boy? Like this, no? So one day, Mother Sachi, when Nimai is crying, where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? Then Mother Sachi, she called Gadadhar. Gadadhar, please come. Can you pacify, because you are his good friend, can you pacify Nimai? Then Gadadhar came. Gadadhar saw Nimai is screaming, where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? Gadadhar said, Are Nimai, why are you worried? Don't you know that Krishna is within your heart? Krishna is within your heart, sitting into your heart. Why are you looking for Krishna? Then Nimai said, oh really? He's within my heart? He looked on his heart, in his nail, so scratch his heart. Where is Krishna? I want to see him. Then Gadadhar thinks, wow, I wanted to solve one problem, another problem now has come up. Yeah, I want to pacify him by saying, Krishna is within your heart, where are you searching for? Now he's scratching his heart. Then Gadadhar said, oh Nimai, no, wait a minute. Krishna has gone for grazing cows. Oh, very soon he will come back. Then Nimai cooled down. And Mother Sachi watching everything, standing, is watching. Now how Gadadhar so expertly, he cooled down Nimai. Then Mother Sachi said, Gadadhar, from today, please you don't go anywhere, please stay here with Nimai always. Always from today you have to stay with Nimai. Don't leave Nimai. And since then, Gadadhar spent as much as time with Nimai. Swan Maharaj, His Holiness Gaura Purnima Swami Maharaj is mentioning very interesting, an interesting point on this. Very interesting point on this. Now Sachidevi, the seniors, Gurujan, she is insisting Gadadhar, you stay with Nimai. Who is Nimai? Who is Nimai? Krishna. Who is Gadadhar? Radharani. Yes? But when they were in Vrindavan, anybody is insisting Radharani, you stay with Krishna? Anybody is doing? They are all against that. Hey, don't go there. Don't look at him. Hey, all kinds of bad names he was getting. So now in this incarnation, they request Radharani, please stay with him. So that was her desire. When Radharani used to see, all the Sakhis used to see, all the cowherd boys are so happy, whole day spending with Krishna. Then they would lament, oh Vidhi, oh Brahma, why did you make us a lady? No? We would have become boy, then we could whole day spend with Krishna. So all that group, then they appeared as a boy, so that they can spend with Krishna. So seniors, the same seniors, were against Radharani to go close to Krishna. They are requesting, Radharani, please stay with Krishna. So like this, Mahaprabhu started his Hare Krishna movement, the movement of crying. He came to make people to cry. That was practically the whole thing was happening. They're so emotional, spiritually emotional. Every day, every night, for hours, whole night, they would just chant and dance. For hours and hours, Sapta Prahar, 7 Prahar, continuously chanting and chanting and chanting. Not everybody allowed. Mahaprabhu with his very close associates, then he would do these things. Then one day, that Shuklambar Brahmachari, when chanting is like this going on, Shuklambar Brahmachari came inside. Then Mahaprabhu stopped chanting. Mahaprabhu stopped chanting. When he stopped chanting, all devotees became very worried. Because one day happened, also Mahaprabhu stopped chanting that day, chanting, dancing. Then he said, I don't feel ecstasy. something wrong. Some Bijatiya, some outsider must have entered here. Why I am not getting ecstasy? Search for that person. Who is here? So everybody thinking, oh, maybe I have committed some mistake, some sin. Why Mahaprabhu is not getting ecstasy? They are feeling guilty. Then Srivas Thakur searching. Then he found, because everybody not allowed, then he found his mother-in-law covering herself inside a basket. She is sitting there and watching the chanting and dancing. Then Srivas Thakur picked up the basket and found her mother-in-law. She was so angry, furious. She caught hold of her hair and dragged her and threw her into the courtyard. That you are disturbing Mahaprabhu's kirtan. Then Mahaprabhu started chanting and dancing. So when Mahaprabhu stopped chanting and dancing, so everybody got worried. Again, what happens today? Maybe some outsider has come. But no. Then Mahaprabhu, he straight went to Shuklambar Brahmachari. Shuklambar Brahmachari whole day was begging alms. End of the day, this is not working, It's not good. It's inauspicious. It's inauspicious to have a clock in your house which does not move. Not good. So I have to watch this because I have Bengali class there. What to do with me? If I watch here, all audience are watching. When class will be finished? When class finish? We have to go out of the class. That's why they have put it watch here. But put a class here. The speaker will see. Okay, what I was telling? Forgot? Yes. After whole day begging, his bag was full with alms, raw rice. He came inside. Mahaprabhu stopped chanting, dancing. Then he straight went to Shuklambar Brahmachari. Then he put his hand into bag and picked up palm full of rice, raw rice, and eating. Shuklambar Brahmachari caught hold of his hand. Oh my Lord, this is not befitting for you. It was all kinds of rice. They are not good quality rice. People, they don't give good quality rice for a beggar, The rice not good to use, they give it to beggars. It's not befitting for you. He caught hold of Mahaprabhu's hand. Mahaprabhu said, Shuklambar, it's most suitable for me. It's not like now I am eating from your bag like this, by force taking from you and eating. Not only now. Previous life you became what he was, Sudama. And you brought some chipped rice. You were very poor that time, very poor. You brought some chipped rice soaked with yogurt, milk, soaked with, because he was carrying chipped rice and walking long walk. Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj was telling, many days he was walking and was holding chipped rice under his armpits. And all the sweats, perspiration was soaked. Chipped rice soaked with perspiration, not with yogurt or milk. He was reluctant to give me. So by force I took from you. And I enjoyed that so much. Previous life, you are very poor. By force I took from you, I enjoy. Now, you are very poor. By force I take from, I enjoy. So life after life you remain poor, and I will enjoy. Who will become devotee of such a God? That such a God will bless you, remain life after life poor. Who will understand this? Krishna is very dangerous. There is nobody goes to Krishna, nobody goes to Vishnu. You go to Kali Mandir, go to Shiva Mandir, Durga Mandir, Ganesh, big line is there. All Vishnu Mandirs, hardly anybody is there. Only cockroach and rats you will find there. Only one Vishnu Mandir, Balaji has long queue there because he gives money. That's why people put something. Vishnu nobody likes. He is dangerous God. Vishnu has said, Jada ham anugrahami harisya tad dhanam sanai. I will bless you. Come worship me, I will bless you. If I get your blessings, what I will get it from you? Yes, if I bless you, you lose everything, whatever you have. Harisha tad dhanam sanay. I will take all your opulence. Oh, really? You are that kind of God? Hit the road. So that is situation now. Mahaprabhu is saying something. Mahaprabhu is saying something. I brought something, Golakar, Premadhan, Harinam, Sankirtan. You don't need any qualification. No prerequisites. Giving it free. He is telling to his devotees, I brought, but nobody buying this. How anybody will buy? If you take real diamond, and sit in Bamanpakur Bazaar, and say diamond kilo 10 rupees, diamond kilo 10 rupees, you will get any buyers there, real diamond buyers. So Mahaprabhu is saying, I bought diamonds because I am giving free. Nobody takes these things. So in this way, Srinivas Thakur, so many beautiful, sweet pastimes, interesting, full of Aishwarya, full of Madhurya, full of Audarya, all manifested there. Mahaprabhu had this Mahabhav Prakash. One day, always Mahaprabhu used to exhibit his, because he came to play Bhakta, role of devotee. So always he used to be very humble, simple, pray, offer obeisances, touch the feet of the devotees. But one time he would come into his Bhagavan mood. So one day all of a sudden, in Srinivas' house, he climbed on the altar of the deity. He picked up all the Saligram Sela on his lap. Then he exhibited his mood of that is Bhagavan. I am that Rama, I am Narayan, I am Narasimha. So he was giving prema to everybody. Everybody asking different things. He is giving love of Godhead. Then Mukunda was there. So Srinivas Thakur said that Mukunda, you are giving love to everybody. What about Mukunda? You don't give love to Mukunda? No. Giving love to Mukunda, I don't want to see his face. Mukunda is khod jhatiya. Khod jhatiya means, khod means straw, jhatu means jhadu, that is broom. Khod jhatiya, broom and straw, okay. Why he said khod jhatiya? Because Mukunda has a tendency, whenever he goes to Vaishnavas, he glorifies Vaishnavas. When he is to go to Gyanis, he glorifies Gyanis. Wherever he goes, Jatama Tatapat, Ramakrishna's line he was maybe that time. So Mahaprabhu said, and then he puts in my front, and he comes with a straw in his mouth, and when he goes out, he put broom on my back. No, I will not see the face of this fellow. Go tell him I don't want to see his face. Then devotees went, told Mukunda that we are very sorry to tell you that Mahaprabhu is saying he will not see your face. We are not allowed to see him. Then Mukunda asked devotees, can you ask Mahaprabhu, that how long I can see, when can I see him? After 1 year, 10 years, when can I see him? Then Srinivas Thakur went and asked Mukunda, asking, when can he see you? Then Mahaprabhu said, tell that fellow, after millions of lifetime he can see me. Then devotees felt so sad. Wow, Mukunda is very attached to Mahaprabhu. When if he hears after 1 million lifetime, what will happen to him? He will die on the spot to hear this. So very reluctantly they went. This is Mukunda. We are very sorry to tell you that Mahaprabhu said after 1 million lifetime you can see him. When Mukunda heard that, he was in ecstasy. Wow, I am so fortunate. He was chanting and dancing. Mahaprabhu, you are so merciful. Only after 1 million lifetime you will give me darshan. Because he is thinking, from Anadi Karama Phale Padi Bhavarna Vajale, from since time immemorial I am here. And how long I will be here, there is no limit. At least Mahaprabhu is saying 1 million life is fixed. After 1 million life I am guaranteed I will see Mahaprabhu. That is his understanding. So he was very grateful. Oh, Mahaprabhu is so merciful. Only after 1 million life he will give me darshan. So after telling this, seeing this, the devotees went to Mahaprabhu. Then Mahaprabhu asked, so did you tell him after 1 million lifetime he can get my darshan? And the devotee said, yes. And what he said, so he was very happy. He was telling, oh, Mahaprabhu is so merciful, only after 1 million lifetime I can get his darshan. Then after hearing this, then Mahaprabhu said, okay, call him now. Then Srinivas Thakur said, Mahaprabhu, you just told after 1 million lifetime you will give darshan. So you don't keep your words? So how come in one moment you want to give him darshan? Mahaprabhu said, yes. I have made, in one moment, I have made him to go through 1 million lifetimes. The Kalasmiham, his Kala, he can make it that, That one ratra, one night that Krishna spent with Brajagopika, that was made one Brahmaratra, isn't it? Night of Brahma. He can make one night long as night of Brahma. And 1 million life, he can make also one moment. So, Mukunda got boon. He was blessed. So one more. So there is one day what happened? Again, one day, Mahaprabhu chanting and dancing, all of a sudden stopped chanting and dancing. Or something wrong today again. Who is that person? Not unqualified person has entered here to my kirtan. Then nobody looking, who is that person? Then Srivas came forward. Oh, Mahaprabhu, I have brought one man. He's a great brahmachari. He is qualified to see to have darshan of your chanting and dancing. How did you know he is qualified? Mahaprabhu is a great brahmachari. From childhood he drinks only milk, nothing else. He's very pure. That's why he is qualified. Mahaprabhu became very angry. What? If somebody is a brahmachari drinking milk, that is qualification to see my chanting and dancing. Throw him out from here immediately. Srivas had invited, so he felt very awkward, Then he went to that Poyopai brahmachari. He said, oh, I am very sorry, you have to leave the place now. Mahaprabhu does not want. Then he left. Then when he was going back, he was contemplating that I am so sinful person. I am so wretched, so fallen. But Mahaprabhu is so merciful, at least I could have seen something. Whether it is the blessings, how could I enter even if? How did he take it? He did not take, oh, Nimai, he's so proud, he threw me out. Many people are thinking like this. They're not allowed inside, they're banging. What is going on? They're not allowed, oh, something strange is happening. They're giving all bad name, all kinds of things. Vrindavan Das Thakur describing. But this person, when he's going, oh, he's so merciful, God is very merciful, I could have darshan, this, that, I'm so fallen. Thinking like this and going. Mahaprabhu is Antarjami. Mahaprabhu understood. Mahaprabhu told, Srivas, go quickly, bring him back here now. But you said, Srivas said, but you said he's a simply brahmachari, drinking milk is not qualified. No, now he's qualified. But Mahaprabhu understood the mood. The mood is very, very important. Not how high you are jumping up and down. And how nicely on the beat of good mridanga players, good harmonium, good leaders, the hall becomes full when good chanters comes. Normal chanters hall becomes very empty. No. But bhakti is different. Little different. So, this is how, okay. How Mahaprabhu, you see, Mahaprabhu came, apane acharya dharma jibere sikhaye. Each and every, if you analyze, each and every incident, pastimes, event took place, Mahaprabhu personally, through his own behavior and his devotees' behavior, all he did, apane acharya dharma jibere sikhaye. By his own behavior, teaching, full of teachings, full of philosophy. His life is full of philosophy. You don't need to read Veda, Vedanta, Upanishad, any other scriptures. Simply read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, everything is there. Nothing necessary. Whole full of philosophy and teachings. Solid philosophy. So one day, Mahaprabhu giving prem to everybody. Then devotee came, Srivastava came, said, Mahaprabhu, you are giving a prem to everybody. What about Mother Sachi? You will not give Mother Sachi prem? No. I'll give prem to everybody except Mother Sachi. What is that? What wrong she did? She committed Vaishnava aparadh. How can she commit Vaishnava aparadh? She's mother of whole universe, Jagat Mata. She carried 10 months, you, the Vishwambar, who is carrying the whole universe, Vishwambar, she is carrying you in her womb. What offense she could have committed that she is not qualified to get prema? Then Mahaprabhu said she has committed offense unto Advaita Acharya. If Advaita Acharya, yes, I have to go now. If Advaita Acharya will forgive her, then only she will get Krishna Prem. So the devotees went to Advaita Acharya, please come, please come. Nima is not giving prema to Mother Sachi because she has committed some offenses. Please go. Advaita said, Sri Vishnu, how can I hear these things? How can I tell that Sachi Mata committed offense to me? She is Jagat Mata. Then he started to glorify Sachi Mata in such ecstasy. Then Advaita fainted there. He fainted there. When Advaita fainted, Sachi Mata was standing there. Then Mahaprabhu told Sachi Mata, go grab his feet now. Because if it's on external senses, he will not allow you to touch his feet. So this is chance for you. Grab his feet. Then Sachi Mata went, ran, and took the dust of Advaita and put on her head. Then immediately she got Krishna Prem. She has Krishna Prem, but to teach us. And what was the offense of Mother Sachi to Advaita Acharya? You know, offense is because when Vishwarup, before taking sannyas, he used to go to Advaita Acharya to listen Gita, Bhagavata. Then sometimes small Nimai used to go, getting late for eating, no? Oh brother, bhai, bhat khave aso, come to eat rice. Bengalis are so fond of rice. So he said also to come to eat rice. Come to eat rice. So then Vishwarup took sannyas. Mother was very angry upon Advaita Acharya. Because Vishwarup hearing from Advaita Acharya, then he became renounced. Mother Sachi is saying, this is Advaita. Who gave this name Advaita? He is number one Advaita. You know? Who gave the name Advaita? He is number one Advaita. No? He taught by his son. So nowadays the parents become upset. When children joining ISKCON, it's not nowadays like that. That time it was like that also. It became that unlimited pastimes. Gaurangar Madhur Leela, all sweet pastimes of Mahaprabhu is all sweet and sweet and sweet. Except one thing is not sweet. You know what is that? Everything, all pastime is sweet. One is not sweet. You know what is that? His name is not sweet. His name is Nimai. Right? It's bitter. Because the ladies, they gave a bitter name because Yamaraj took 7 daughters of Mother Sachina. So ladies thought we give a bitter name to him, Nimai, so that Yamaraj will not touch him anymore. So all pastimes are sweet. He is sweet. He's full of sweetness, Madhurima. His name is Nimai. Actually, our final shelter in our life is Nim, bitter only. You know why? Any doctors here? Any patients here? We are all patients. All of you know, you have diabetic, okay, give up sugar. And you have stomach problem, give up chili. And you have high blood pressure, give up salt. All these tests you are giving up, isn't it? But doctor never tells you give up bitter. Isn't it? In my life, now I can't eat sweet, I can't eat chili, I can't eat salt, I can't eat sour. Doctor is not telling me, don't eat bitter. Corala, name leaves are only my shelter. So Mahaprabhu chose a name is bitter, but everybody's shelter is that name. Isn't it? Jai Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. now Bhakti Vighna Vinasa Narasimha Maharaj will come. So he will deliver you more nectars. Gauranga Madhur Leela. You will enjoy. Until that, you may chant Hare Krishna. Okay? Thank you so much. तुम्हारा दौड़ जाओ और तो बाइक रेडी करो बाइक
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Thera Vanachari Yamuna Thera Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Jai Jai Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajak Acharya Ashtatara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vighna Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Tosi Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Shri Gaura Purnima Mahotsava Ki. Oh, glories assembled devotees, oh, glories assembled devotees, oh, glories assembled devotees, oh, glories Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, oh, glories Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vinda In Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj gives 14 verses as the invocation to his Caitanya Charitamrita. 14 verses, and first 6 are all in relation to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then there are 5 verses glorifying Lord Nityananda. There's 2 verses of Advaita Acharya and 1 of the Panchatattva. So Caitanya Charitamrita begins very interesting manner by offering respects to the 6 different features of the Supreme Lord. Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishan Isha Avatarakan Taj Prakatam Stachach Prakti Krishna Chaitanya Samgyakam. Krishnadas Kaviraj begins describing the 6 different features of the Lord. First of all, he says, Bande Gurun offers obeisances to the spiritual teachers. Plural form. Bande Gurun, not one, but many gurus. So that's a very important point to be noted. Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan. Then he offers respects to the devotees. And then to Taj Prakashams, to the plenary portions of the Lord. And then to the Lord's incarnations. Then to the Lord's different potencies. And then finally to the Supreme Lord himself. So we want to look at these different features, how we understand the Supreme Absolute Truth. First of all, the spiritual master. We said not one, but many. There is the instructing spiritual masters, and there are the initiating spiritual master. We should only have one initiating spiritual master, but there should be many instructing spiritual masters. Generally, the process is, first of all, take instruction. And from the different people giving instructions, one person would become more prominent, and that person would become the initiating spiritual master. So Krishnadas Kaviraj identifies his instructing spiritual masters. He says the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are all his instructing spiritual masters. And he offers his respects to them. We should understand that the instructing spiritual master and the initiating spiritual master are of equal position. We don't give more importance to the instructing spiritual master and less position to the initiating, or we don't give more to the initiating and less to the instruction. They're equal. They're equal manifestations because they're representing the message of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada describes the spiritual teachers as the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead, teaching how to serve the Lord through their instructions. By hearing, if you hear regularly from someone with faith, we should understand that is an indication that we're taking instruction from them. Nowadays in ISKCON, we don't have any formal process of accepting someone as an instructing spiritual master. Some devotees may do it on their own. They may recognize that this person is my Shiksha Guru, and along with their Diksha Guru, they may also worship their Shiksha Guru. Like when they're offering or when they're celebrating the Vyasa Pujas and so on, they may recognize their instructing spiritual masters. In the Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes a verse that nobody should ever envy the spiritual master. Acharyamam vijaniyam navivam yita karechit. Right? We should consider the spiritual master to be the manifestation of the Supreme Lord. But at the same time, the spiritual teacher should never consider himself to be the Supreme Lord. Spiritual teacher should always be very humble and show the humility of the Vaishnava. But the disciple, in their mind at least, they should understand, they should respect the spiritual teacher to be a manifestation of the Lord. And in this way offer all respect to him. They asked Prabhupada, there was one lady came, her son had become a devotee, and so she came to the program one morning and she saw the devotees doing Guru Puja and how they all offered flowers and bowed down to Prabhupada. So after the program, she had the opportunity to meet Srila Prabhupada, and she said to him, she said, "Oh, I see your disciples worship you." And Prabhupada looked at her and said, "Yes, and I also worship my spiritual master." So that's an important point to be understood, that whatever worship we offer to the spiritual teacher, he offers to his spiritual master. It is not for himself. Just like when people take sannyas, initially sometimes it's a little difficult because everywhere you go people are respecting you and bowing down to you. So one time there was one young man took sannyas and he came back to Prabhupada and he said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, I don't like this. Everyone is respecting me and bowing down to me. And Prabhupada said to him, they're not respecting you, they're respecting what you represent. So that is the system, that when we offer respects to the spiritual teacher and to sannyasis, it's not that we're actually respecting the person, but rather what they represent is being respected. So Krishnadas Kaviraj begins his Caitanya Charitamrita by offering his respects to all the spiritual teachers. Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan. Then he offers respects to the devotees. Devotees like Srivas Pandit, whose home is just down the road at the near the Yoga Pith, where Lord Chaitanya inaugurated nocturnal kirtan. So Srivas Pandit, he is considered to be the expansion of Narada Muni. And he's a great devotee. There are different kinds of devotees. It's explained there are the Parishad, meaning the eternal associates of the Lord, and there are the Sadhakas. We are all, I would imagine, we're all Sadhakas, right? Are any of you eternal personal associates of the Lord? Unlikely. We're not quite ready for that. But we're on the path. That is the goal, what we want to achieve. We want to become the personal associates of the Lord. Of course, if we were more advanced, we would think, I'm already associating with the Lord by chanting His holy name. And when we go to see the deities, then we're also associating with the Lord. The pujaris, for example, they associate with the Lord in His deity form. So different devotees, different levels of devotees. Those who are sadhakas, we're progressing. We're on the path of spiritual progress. And then Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishan Ish Avatarakam. Avatars. In the Panchatattva, we have Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of the Lord. He is considered to be incarnation of Mahavishnu or Sadashiva. There are different kinds of incarnations described. We have partial incarnations, like the Purusha avatars, who are responsible for creation. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Shirodakashayi Vishnu. These are all partial incarnations. And then Matsya avatar is also mentioned as a partial incarnation. There are qualitative incarnations. Qualitative incarnations mean personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. And there are also manifestations of the authority of the Lord, or empowered incarnations. For example, Prithu Maharaj, the four Kumaras, Vedavyas, they are described to be empowered incarnations of the Lord. So in this way, different avatars are described. Then Taj Prakashams, the plenary portions of the Lord. Lord Nityananda is a plenary portion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just as Balaram also expands from Lord Krishna, they're considered non-different. So plenary portions, and then the Shakti, or the potencies of the Lord. In other words, the Lord's consorts. In Chaitanya Lila, the Lord's consort is Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is the expansion of Srimati Radharani coming to take part in Chaitanya Lila. But in Krishna, in relation to the spiritual world, we have the goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha. And we have also Krishna's wives in Dwarka. And we have also the gopis in Krishna's Rasa Lila. So these are all examples of the different potency of the Lord, the Shakti of the Lord, through his different consorts. And then there's the Lord himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he appears in different forms. There is Prakash and there are Vilas forms of the Lord. The Prakash forms are where the Lord expands in the same, exactly the same features, exactly the same. Just like when Lord Krishna married 16,000 wives in Dwarka, at that time he expanded himself into 16,000, and each form was the same. Each form was identical. So that is Prakash. Another example is when Krishna danced Rasa Lila in Vrindavan with the gopis. At that time, Lord Krishna could appear with each of the gopis. It said one gopi on each side, but the same Krishna was expanded with all the gopis. So each gopi thought she was dancing with Krishna. Each of the expansions were identical. So that is Prakash expansions. And then there is Vilas expansions. Just like we said, Lord Balaram, a little different. Although he's identical to Krishna, there's a difference in color. Balaram's white and Krishna's blackish. There are some distinctions there. And then Lord Narayan. Lord Narayan is also non-different from Lord Krishna. But Lord Narayan is the four-armed form, and Lord Krishna is the two-armed form. So there's a distinction there. And similarly also Chaturvyuha, the Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna, Vasudev, the Chaturvyuha. This is another example of the Lord in Vilas expansion. So these are the 6 different features of the Absolute Truth. When we come before the Panchatattva in the temple, a number of devotees will recite the Pranam mantra to Panchatattva. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So again, the different features of the Absolute Truth are being described. We have the spiritual teachers, we have the devotees, we have the incarnations, the plenary portions, the Shakti, or the consorts of the Lord, and the Supreme Lord himself. In this way we understand Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is the first verse of Caitanya Charitamrita, which is discussed in the first chapter of Caitanya Charitamrita. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur said that once he read Caitanya Charitamrita, it was only then that he began to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada would often describe Caitanya Charitamrita as the postgraduate study. Srimad Bhagavatam's a graduate study, and Caitanya Charitamrita postgraduate study. So reading the Caitanya Charitamrita is very important for us. We may think, oh, I'm a neophyte, I'm not ready yet to read Caitanya Charitamrita. But in the very beginning of our movement, Srila Prabhupada was already giving classes on Caitanya Charitamrita. So we shouldn't think, oh, I'm not qualified. Rather, we will become qualified by reading, by hearing. So Caitanya Charitamrita is very important for us. Prabhupada had given that for us, for all the devotees to read. We should think, we have to read all of Prabhupada's books, every book. And we not only read them, we should know them. Sometimes devotees are a bit slack in these things. We don't take much time to read. It's very nice to hear how many devotees are giving classes nowadays on books like Caitanya Charitamrita. And it's very helpful for devotees who may not read, they hear. So the senior devotees can preach, they can speak about Caitanya Mahaprabhu and read from Caitanya Charitamrita and explain the leelas and the topics which are being presented there. And in this way, other devotees will become more inspired to also read Caitanya Charitamrita. And not only Caitanya Charitamrita, we want to read also Caitanya Bhagavat. I was quite surprised. Recently I was on a parikrama and we went to Vrindavan Das Thakur's place where he had written Caitanya Bhagavat. Place called Delur. It's not far away from Champahati. So they have the original Caitanya Bhagavat there, which he had written on palm leaves. Anyway, we asked the devotees who were with us, how many of you have read Caitanya Bhagavat? And practically no one had read. So it's important for us as followers of Caitanya Mahaprabhu to know what is his teachings, what were his lila, what were his pastimes. So Caitanya Bhagavat, Caitanya Charitamrita, Caitanya Mangal, these are the three main books. Of course, Srila Prabhupada just gave us Caitanya Charitamrita, but in many purports he will refer. He will say, for example, a pastime will be described, and Prabhupada will write in the purport, this pastime is described extensively in the Caitanya Bhagavat, and he will say, where in the Caitanya Bhagavat? Is it in Adikanda, Majjhim Kanda, or Anchakanda? And which chapter is it in? So Prabhupada gave us this information. In other words, he's encouraging us that we will also refer and read these books and know more about Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the second verse of Caitanya Charitamrita, the invocation, Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to describe, Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gododaye Pushpavanto Chitro Samotamonudo. In this verse, Chaitanya and Nityananda are compared to the sun and the moon. And Krishnadas Kaviraj describes how the sun and the moon have appeared together simultaneously in order to bless everyone's heart and dissipate the darkness of ignorance. Just like the sun and the moon, when they come up, then we can observe different physical objects clearly. So in the same way, but the appearance of Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, this not only takes away the external darkness, but it puts light in our heart. It takes away the ignorance from our heart, because our hearts are full of identification with the material world, with sense gratification. We want to give up that attachment to sense gratification. By the mercy of Mahaprabhu, then we can remove that ignorance from the heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda came to give the chanting of the holy names. Kali Yuga Dharm Hari Nam Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Vininahi Tara Pravartan. So the holy name is the incarnation of the Lord in the Kali Yuga. And Krishnadas Kaviraj describes that these two lords, Chaitanya and Nityananda, have appeared just like the sun rises on Goda Desh. As the sun rises, this land of Bengal, this is called Goda Desh. We're the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So this land is Goda Desh. And when the sun and the moon rise, then the darkness is removed. In the same way, with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, the darkness of ignorance is removed from our hearts by taking the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to heart. The message was that we should study the books about Krishna. We should read the books about Krishna. We should chant the holy name and we should worship Krishna. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, to give the chanting of the holy names to everyone without considering who is qualified and who is not. It's quite a distinction between Lord Jesus Christ. Now, in Christianity, Lord Jesus Christ died for the sins of his believers. But we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants to give Krishna consciousness to everyone, to all living entities. When he's going through the forest of Jharakanda, the wild animals are given the holy name, and they also chant and dance and embrace each other and awaken love of God. What to speak of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? There were great Vaishnava devotees like Rashikananda, who was a disciple of Shamananda Pandit. Rashikananda, he initiated an elephant. There was a mad elephant destroying a village. And at that time Rashikananda was preaching to some really nasty man who was he was an atheist actually, and he said to Rashikananda, he said, if you can stop this elephant from destroying the village, then I will believe what you say. So Rashikananda said, all right. So he went out there and he approached the elephant and chanted the holy name into the ear of the elephant, and the elephant fell at his feet. And so he initiated the elephant, Gopal Das, and he became a nice devotee. And you always come to see Rashikananda and offer obeisances to him. So empowered devotees, they will give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Prabhupada called one devotee, it was in Los Angeles, it was one of my godbrothers, Narayan Prabhu. So Prabhupada called him, he said, "You see this insect on the table?" He said, "Oh, Prabhupada, you want me to get it out of here?" He said, "I want you to think how to give it Krishna consciousness." This is the mood of the Vaishnavas. Give Krishna consciousness to all living entities. Right? Prabhupada was in Australia and the devotees arranged the program for him at some monastery. There was a monastery, there were monastic monks and they were following St. Francis, so the Franciscan monastery. And the monks there told Srila Prabhupada about St. Francis. They told him how St. Francis used to address the trees as "my dear sister tree, my dear sister flower." Like this, he saw all the different living entities as his brother and sister. And when Srila Prabhupada heard that, Prabhupada told the monks, he said, "That is real God consciousness." So we want to understand what is God consciousness, right? So it's explained for us by hearing the pastimes of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. From the life and from the teachings of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand God consciousness on the highest level. Chaitanya Charitamrita continues in the third verse. Yadadvaitam Brahmopanishad asya. Yadadvaitam Brahmopanishad yashyat tanuva. The absolute truth is understood in three features. What the Upanishads call the impersonal Brahman is but his impersonal feature of the absolute truth. And the Paramatma, the Lord in the hearts of all living entities, is his all-pervading feature. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in all opulencies. And he is none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the absolute truth is understood in these three different features. There is the impersonal, all-pervading Brahman, there is the localized Paramatma, and there is the Supreme Lord himself. This learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is also displaying the features of Bhagavan, all opulencies. We see in Mahaprabhu the ultimate renunciation. As a sannyasi, he was the most strict sannyasi. Very strict in his... Of course, he took sannyas in the line of Shankaracharya, in that line. And the tradition in that line is that the sannyasis are very strict. Some South Indian lady told me that the custom is, before you can even go in a room where a sannyasi is from the line of Shankaracharya, the lady must wear a full sari. Full sari means the entire body is covered. And they will never come close. They will sit at the back of the room. They can never come near to the Mayavadi sannyasi. That is the custom in Shankaracharya line. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he strictly followed all of these principles of renunciation. And he displayed all the other opulencies of Bhagavan as well. Of course, he was complete in knowledge. No one could argue or defeat him. We know there's a pastime described in Chaitanya Charitamrita how Balabhacharya had raised a doubt. He said that you're all chanting the holy name of the Lord, but the living entities are Purusha. We're not Purusha, the Lord is Purusha, we're Prakriti. So we're all feminine in relation to the Lord. So it's a duty of a wife never to say the name of a husband. Just like Mother Sita never uttered the name of Lord Rama. This sometimes surprises people, you know. If you try to introduce this culture into people from outside the Vedic culture, they're shocked. They say, how can I talk to my husband? You should simply say, my Prabhu, or my husband, right? You address your husband in that manner. That is the Vedic culture. They will never utter the name of their husband. So Vallabha Acharya was saying, we are all the Prakriti and the Lord is the Purush. We shouldn't be chanting his name. So the devotees looked at Vallabha Acharya and said, just you wait. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the personification of all religious principles. When he comes, he will answer your doubt. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, the question was raised, how can we chant the name of the Lord? He said, we're supposed to be chaste wives. We shouldn't say the name of our husband. Mahaprabhu said, it is the duty of the wife to follow the order of her husband. And the Lord has ordered that we should all chant his holy name. And so this way Vallabha Acharya was rebuked. No, we have to chant. You get these kind of people that come up with these kind of philosophies. In the time of Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta, there was a Babaji who was also propagating this kind of thinking, that don't chant the holy name, just chant in your mind. You shouldn't chant the name of the Lord aloud. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said, well look, Rupa Goswami was a personal witness to the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had personally been with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he has described the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Chaitanya Astakam. And in the Chaitanya Astakam, Rupa Goswami has written that Mahaprabhu loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord. So well, how is it you can say we don't chant the name? And some people say, oh, no, don't do kirtan of the holy name. But kirtan is more important than japa. It's kirtan where we get the greatest mercy of the holy name. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had everybody chant in kirtan. But we also chant japa as well. We also chant the holy name. Both are encouraged. And you can do it loudly. Haridas Thakur, Kolaveka Sridhar, they were all loudly chanting the holy name. There was no question of silently, in the mind. No. Prabhupada used to tell us, the louder you chant, the more powerful it becomes. So the chanting of the holy name, very important in the Kali Yuga. It's the only way. In other ages there's other processes as well, but in the Kali Yuga only the chanting of the holy name. So then Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to describe about the appearance of the Lord, that he has come to establish the Yuga Dharma. This is the external reason for the appearance of the Lord. That he has come to establish the Yuga Dharma. He wants to give Krishna consciousness to everyone through Sankirtan. And that was the main activity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes he would be alone, he would go chanting. Just like in Benares. When he went to Benares, all the Mayavadi sannyasis were there, headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is he doing? He's chanting and dancing. Alone. He was on his own doing Sankirtan. Sometimes he would be on his own, other times he would have many people, just like we know in Jagannath Puri. When he came back to Jagannath Puri, then there will be many devotees all chanting with him. And we hear about the wonderful kirtans, particularly when the devotees would come from Bengal. They would all come, led by Shivananda Sen, and they'd come and they would stay for 4 months in Jagannath Puri. They'd come in time for the Rath Yatra, and they would stay for the whole of Kartik, and after Kartik, then they'd come back to Bengal. So, and what were they doing? Every day, kirtan. There would be chanting of the holy name. There would be Krishna Katha, discussion on the topics of Krishna. So as devotees, we have to understand how to be a devotee. What is our sadhaka? The main sadhaka is to avoid the association of non-devotees. Right? How to recognize a devotee? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, how can we recognize a devotee? He immediately replied, Asat Sanga Tyag, E Vaishnavachar, Stri Sangha, Eka Sadhu, Krishna Bhakti Ar. The devotee will give up the association of the asat. He gives up the association of materialistic-minded people. People who are just interested in sense gratification. We don't need that association. And we don't also need to associate with people who have no faith in Krishna consciousness. We want to have full faith in the process. And if you associate with people like impersonalists and jnanis, they may doubt the power of the holy name, they doubt the words of the acharyas. So that kind of association is no good. It is not for devotees. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavantirit karana rasayana kata tajjoshanadyash apavargavatmani shradaratir bhaktir anukramishyati. This is a very important verse for us as devotees. It's described by Lord Kapila to his mother Devahuti in Srimad Bhagavatam. The topics of Lord Krishna, when heard in the association of devotees, are very pleasing to the ear and to the heart. So this is the business of devotees, to give pleasure to the ear. We get pleasure by hearing topics of Krishna. And from the ear, it should go to the heart. It shouldn't go out the other ear. It should go to the heart. We want to keep that message in the heart. This reminds us we have to associate with, we said we give up the association of non-devotees. Who do we associate with? We associate with the Bhagavat devotees. There are two Bhagavats. There is the book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat, the person Bhagavat. We want that kind of association. When you get mediocre association, then that will help to come to anartha nivritti. But when you get the higher association, then that association will give us nishta and ruchi. It will be a higher level of devotion. We can experience when we're hearing different devotees how it's not all on the same level. Some devotees have higher realizations than others, and it will help to elevate our level of Krishna consciousness. So we want to associate with the Bhagavat devotees, hearing topics of Krishna. So on this day, Gaura Purnima, we want to take advantage to hear and chant as much as we can. We want to utilize every minute in the service of Krishna. Of course, you have to go to Ganga, take bath there on this day. This is one day you've got to go to Ganga, take bath. We have to also keep ourselves absorbed in the nectar of the holy name. So many wonderful kirtaniers are here, and when we're not hearing the kirtan, then chant japa and remember Krishna. Okay, are there any questions? Yes?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. Maharaj, I had one doubt, not doubt, rather question, that whether this chanting upon beats, this process had been introduced by Mahaprabhu himself, or it was introduced by Srila Rupa Goswami. This question.
Oh, was the process chanting on beads, was it introduced by Caitanya Mahaprabhu or Rupa Goswami? Well, you know, they're not the only ones to chant on beads. You see, Lord Brahma also has beads. Lord Shiva also has beads. There's a lot of people using beads, you know. It's not a new thing. And even the Buddhists also, they're also using beads, chanting. The Buddhists, they have 108 beads also. One time I asked a Buddhist man, why 108? He said, 108 miseries. That's the Buddhist philosophy, right? But people become Buddhists to end the misery of material life. So the different beads represent the different miseries of material existence. Of course, for us as devotees, our 108 beads are 108 gopis, or 108 books, like the Upanishads. So different things. So it's not a new thing, no. It's timeless. It's an age-old thing. In Gaudiya Sampradaya? Well, before Gaudiya Sampradaya was Madhva Sampradaya, all right? Mahaprabhu took initiation in the line of Madhva. Do the Madhvas also chant? Yeah, they are also chanting, yes. You see, they also chant. They have beads, they will chant. I mean, they don't do it, it's not a major part of their sadhana, but they do it. Certainly they do it. They're more, some like Sri Vaishnavas, they will also chant, but they're more into puja. They worship all these deities. And Madhva, what are they doing? You know, we do see the chanting is always encouraged. It's always encouraged. It's just people just don't do it. But they know it's good. They just can't do it because it was never emphasized. But it was Caitanya Mahaprabhu who emphasized Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyatar. There's no other way in the Kali Yuga but the holy name. Of course, Caitanya Mahaprabhu was mainly preaching kirtan, getting people to chant kirtan. And the kirtan is very important. But when the kirtan finishes, then you chant on the beats. So chanting. Just like when we take initiation, the vow is to chant on the beats. But we're encouraged as much as possible, join the kirtan. Take part in kirtan. It's very, very powerful. And from kirtan, then we will get more taste to chant on beats, to do our japa. If you don't have taste to chant on beats, you'll get that taste by doing more kirtan and hearing the philosophy. It will help to develop that taste.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
You was talking about to read this Chaitanya Bhagavat. I wanted to ask you which traduction now is like good for us to read which traduction or which Chaitanya Bhagavat is nice, because like I know we don't have in BVT this book.
You don't have Chaitanya Bhagavat?
In BVT.
In BBT?
Yeah, which translation can be nice for us, because it's hundreds also. Like.
Yes, there are different editions. There's one with the purports. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati give purports to the Chaitanya Bhagavat. You can find that in the edition which was published by Pundarik Vijayanidhi Prabhu, who was a Prabhupada disciple. He used to live in Vrindavan. He went back to America. He got married and moved back to America. But he published the Chaitanya Bhagavat with all the purports of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So it's a very good edition. But there are other briefer editions. Sometimes people give summaries. There's a good edition by Sarvabhavana Prabhu, who himself is Bengali, and he's also Prabhupada disciple, and he wrote a very scholarly, nice edition of Chaitanya Bhagavat. So there are different editions there. Yes, Madhajis have their hand. Give the mic. Oh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You mentioned about by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita we can understand Srimad Bhagavatam, but usually we are instructed to first read Bhagavad Gita, then Bhagavatam, and last Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, that is the program, that we read first the Bhagavad Gita, but I said also Prabhupada was giving lectures on the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the very beginning of our movement. So Prabhupada was encouraging us to hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. So people may find it a little difficult in the beginning, but just like Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also difficult in the beginning. But if you can also read Chaitanya Charitamrita side by side, it will be help. Many things are explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we don't find so well or so easily in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we do encourage devotees. Read some Chaitanya Charitamrita, read some Bhagavatam, read also Bhagavad Gita. Of course, if you have a good basis in the Bhagavad Gita, that will help. But even you didn't, you can still hear Srimad Bhagavatam, you can still study. We have to keep reading, keep hearing. So Srimad Bhagavatam, we say that's a graduate study, Chaitanya Charitamrita postgraduate, but no harm to read, to keep reading, hearing. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your association. My question starts from association, referring to your saying. You said we have to associate with devotees and avoid non-devotees. But what if our family members and our friends and the people we work with are non-devotees? So how can we avoid those association with them, Prabhu?
Yes, how do we avoid association when we're brought up in a family who are not devotees?
Yes, Prabhu.
And working maybe also a job with many non-devotees, so you have that problem, yes? Well, we have to know how to associate with devotees. When we associate with devotees, it will be more intimate, just like there are loving exchanges between one devotee and another. Inquiring confidentially and revealing your mind in confidence, offering prasadam, accepting prasadam, offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts. These kind of loving exchanges take place between devotees. People who are not devotees, we wouldn't like to accept their food. They're not devotees. They're probably meat eaters. Are we going to accept their food? No, we don't, right. No. Be polite about it, but just tell them, sorry, I have a special diet, you know. So it's difficult, we know, but gradually people will get used to it and they will respect it. They will come to respect that you have principles which you follow and you keep them. So that's good. They should respect it. You know, if they're actually your friends, then they will respect you for it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
It's always difficult. Many devotees in this situation. Sometimes it's very difficult. For example, your husband. You may have a husband who's not devotee, or maybe it's the husband's a devotee, wife's not a devotee. Then it's really difficult. But still, somehow they manage. If the other party is tolerant, you have to also be a little gentle and willing to help them. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, thank you for a very nice lecture. I would like to have some clarification on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I hear different things, that sometimes that he's Krishna in the mood of Radha Rani, and sometimes that he's Krishna and Radha combined. What is the proper understanding?
Yes, okay. So we say Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combined form of Radha and Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani. So his bhava, Radha bhava jyoti suvalitam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita is described like this, that Krishna, you have to understand, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He wants to enjoy. But he saw that Srimati Radharani is enjoying herself millions of times more than he is. So he wanted to experience that pleasure which Srimati Radharani had. Now Radha and Krishna are one, but they separated themselves eternally. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but he's come, he wants to experience the mood of Radha.
Hare Krishna, that is what I have also understood. But then yesterday, for example, we heard from His Holiness Lokanath Swami that Ekatma, they combine again. They are combined in
Yes.
the Mahaprabhu's Swarup. So would it be correct to say that Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna in Srimati Radharani's mood, or is it only Krishna in Srimati Radharani's mood?
Well, you cannot separate Radha and Krishna. Okay. Radha, can we say Radha enters into Krishna? Well, at least the mood of Radha enters into Krishna. We do say that, some commentators do say like that Radha and Krishna have again become one in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But at the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. Now sometimes he will be in different moods, just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in householder life. You know, he's not in the mood of Radha. When he was married, you know, when he had Lakshmi Priya or Vishnu Priya, his wives, that he was not in the mood of Srimati Radharani then. At that time it's more Narayan feature, and those were his Shaktis. But later on, after taking initiation and chanting mantra from Ishwara Puri, then he awakened his bhava for Krishna. He went to Kanai Sala and he had some experience there, and he came back to Navadvip. And his bhava for Krishna was aroused. He changed. It wasn't the same. He had his vidya, he had his scholarship lila, but then he has now it's after that. Then it's come to this bhava and prema, awakening of love of God, and he wants to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani. So we say Radha Bhava, that the emotion of Radha is there in him. He's Krishna, but with the mood of Srimati Radharani. So you could say that they entered, that mood of Radha entered into him.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Have we got time? What time is it? Okay. What time is darshan? Oh, really? Okay, we should stop here. Now it's time for darshan. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara